wasn't. It was like a book for 10 years before the film.
But you didn't read the book because you were like, oh, I really want to read a book. You read the book because you just love Rambo so much. Like, you couldn't get enough Rambo in your life. But
it's not like a novelization of the film, you know.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Heather. This is James. I am married to him. Today we are drinking. Basically, we're drunk and giving each other book recommendations. Okay, I am hugely excited about this because I've been trying to get him to do a video with me for about a year and a half. So we're gonna be like cool about it and not like make such a big deal. But also, I've been trying to get him to give me book recommendations for like 10 years. And he only just like trickles them in every once in a while. Whereas now, he has promised me he has an actual list. Okay, so my list is probably longer, but it's cool. I will give him book recommendations. He will give me book recommendations. Okay, so I reckon we should just go from there and we'll see. Like, should we do like 1 and 1?
Yeah, let's do that. Well, less is more.
Okay.
As I've always told you.
How many do you have?
I've got about 8.
Okay. I've got. Okay, so we'll go there.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one I have on my list is Glas Nebo by Manon Steffan Ross. You like the Welsh ones? This is a book in Welsh, mind. So James is a Welsh speaker, like natively. I am shit at Welsh, but I'm trying.
No, you're not.
And
no.
He only gives me compliments.
Not shit. Not trying. Yeah.
So this is a book that I read because it's quite small. Like, I think it's up there somewhere, but I don't know where it is. There's another one. Shan at Pastory Time also read this because she's also a Welsh speaker and she said it was really good. And I read it and quite liked it. I think you would like it because it's like, so it's in Welsh and it's like award-winning in Welsh. So like the language, like the Welsh language that's used is quite like poetic and good. But also it's like apocalyptic. So it's like, it works with like a pandemic, you know? So everyone, like there's this huge like nuclear bomb or whatever. And there's only this family left, or like so they think. Because literally no one else where they live, like near Anglesey or whatever. Yeah. And it's like she has a baby as well. And it's told from like perspective of like the mother and like the kid and everyone. It's super good.
So it's dystopian.
Dystopian, yes. This is the word that I mean.
Yeah. So my first recommendation is Autobiography of a Supertramp by W.H. Davies. This guy was a Welsh poet who lived, I think he was born in 1870. He's probably best known today for the poem Leisure. That's what is life if full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. So it's quite often found on park benches and gravestones and that kind of thing.
Graffiti, I'm into it. Yeah,
so the second half of the book I wasn't that keen on, but the first half is brilliant. It describes his life. No, it's quite short. No. Okay. But it describes his sort of his early 20s where he emigrated to America and he lived as a tramp for about 10 years maybe.
Just like a hobo.
Yeah. Okay. And he witnessed so many things. He went up and down. He was taken into prison in the Great Lakes. Via a system called Bootle, I think it was called, where the sheriff and people and the judges were in a system where they basically bribed tramps to take them into prison, where everyone got paid and they got a hot meal. But he witnessed things like he sailed down the Mississippi on a boat. He witnessed a lynching. He went back and forth across the Atlantic on like 18 different cattle boats, you know, made 18 crosses like that.
Okay, so that sounds good.
He fell off a train when he was jumping on it and his leg got chopped off.
Okay.
And he said they remarked on it that he survived. They remarked on it that he lit a pipe while they were waiting for the doctor. But it's pretty cool. And even though it was published in 1908, it's quite a modern sort of humorous tone to it.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah,
I really like that one actually.
That's my first recommendation.
Uncommon Knowledge. I think I've told you about this one already.
Yeah. It's waiting for me on the bookshelf.
Somewhere. I couldn't find it. This one, okay, so basically, I think I've talked about this one previously. It's just like The Economist magazine collected all these little known facts and just like put loads of them together and explained them like in graphs and stuff. Like one of the facts was like, did you know that all pandas in the world are rented from China?
No way.
I know, right? Like, every zoo in the world has a panda, don't they? But they don't own any of them. They're all owned by China. And also, China, if they're pissed at you, can recall them.
Okay.
And they do. And they do. I think I'm more than you. I think I'm more than you. So I'll do one more. Okay, a month in the country. Boom. I'm going to throw it at you. Okay, have you heard of this one?
Is it the church restorer guy?
Yes!
Yeah.
The church restorer guy. Did I mention this already? I can't remember.
Yeah, in the cottage.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So just like recap.
Okay.
It's fiction. It's fiction, which you don't love, I find. You know, you're more like a non-fiction dude, aren't you? But this one reads like non-fiction. It reads like a memoir. Basically, it could be real. So this guy, right after the war, so World War One, he's like messed up, right? He's like got a twitch. He's really like PTSD and everything. He's like not having a good time. But he's like an artist. So he goes through churches and like restores churches, you know, like brings old paintings out and stuff. Yeah. So he's recalled to like this part in like rural Yorkshire or something to like take the paint, this like whitewash paint off this wall. And like he has a really relaxing summer, but also he meets hilarious people and he's really chill. Like he's obviously fucked up. Like he's like dealing with some shit. But he's like really like humorous about it. People sort of say about it. And he like always has like a funny remark to say about the fact that he literally has a twitch in his face. You know? And there's this other guy who's also like looking for the bones of a woman. Like there's these two projects going on at once. And like in the field across from the thing is this guy like digging up bones. And he's also like been in World War One, and he's also hilarious and like just says random stuff. Like they say things they shouldn't say, which I reckon you like. You like that sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay, my second recommendation is Along the Enchanted Way by William Blacker. Okay. And this is a true story of a guy in the late 80s who moved from England to rural Romania, to Maramuresh.
Oh, right. And, is this the place you went to?
Yeah, on the trip where I met Heather in Transylvania, we carried on without Heather further north near the border with Ukraine to a place called Maramuresh, which is it's like a really rural backwater where people still dress in these traditional clothes with hats on, and they still use scythes and ploughs and that kind of thing, traditional tools, I guess. And he went out there and he married this gypsy girl, and they had a kid, and her father was like the head of the clan, and he had a big falling out with the local policeman. And it's a brilliant story, and it's totally true. He's got some sort of anecdote where he wrote a postcard back to his friends who were all training to be programmers, and he was saying, here's progress. I'm training how to mow a lawn with a scythe. But really good book. Describes a sort of like a cosmic burial where two youths die in the village unmarried, and they're married to, they're sort of, how can I describe, kind of like married after death to two young maidens in this kind of spiritual union, and they have the bodies laid out before they bury them, so they go to the afterlife complete. Yeah. They're kind of given their hand in marriage, and the description around that is amazing, and it's like so kind of unusual and exotic. Yeah. This sort of rural custom where they're so concerned that they won't die unmarried. But it's really good. Really recommend it.
I like things like that. I like Romanian stuff.
Yeah.
Next one I have, Worth Dying For: The Power and Politics of Flags by Tim Marshall. You like flags, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like basically, he lays out loads of interesting flags, like why a flag is like a flag, like the things that are on it and how it came to be like that, like interesting sort of things, and things that you maybe didn't know, like flags that you've seen your whole life, but you don't know why it's like that and stuff like that. And also the lengths to which people have gone through to like defend a flag or like sort of like make a flag the way it is or whatever. And it's full of loads of like really interesting shit like that. I reckon you like that.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah.
Wait, how many do you have left? Wait, do I need to do another one?
No, I'll do another one if you want.
I should probably do another one. I have a lot. I just thought I want to make sure that I have ones you like.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I'll choose another one. Okay, Dreams of Max and Ronnie by Niall Griffiths. Have you heard of this book? I know that there's parts of it that are clicking with you. The name of it.
Is it about the comedy duo?
It's not a comedy duo.
No.
No, I wish it was. That sounds like a fantastic book. Right. Maybe we should write one. Okay, so no. Dreams of Max and Ronnie is based on Maxim Ledig.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, like, the Mabinogion, like this, like, Welsh epic or whatever. Like, every, like, culture has an epic, right? Like, the Mabinogion ones. I think I've talked about these before. Like, they're stories, like, split into books, and they're, like, modern retellings of them, like, told by sort of Welsh authors and authors that are, like, award-winning in Wales. And this one is, like, based on this, like, Maxim Ledig thing, where he's, like, dreaming. He, like, goes under and he's, like, on drugs or whatever, and he, like, sees this vision of stuff. But it's a modern retelling of these Welsh guys in, like, the early 2000s or whatever that go to Iraq or Afghanistan or something like that. Like, they're squaddies, right? And they're, like, in the British military. But, like, right before shipping off to Afghanistan, they go to, like, this woman's house and do drugs. And then, like, this guy, he has, like, this massive trip and this, like, huge dream where everyone's, like, sitting around on the third day eating Cocoa Puffs going, like, is he gonna wake up? Like, I'm getting really worried. Like, we've got to go meet our, like, troop or whatever now. But it's also to do with, like the difference between sort of the British military and, like, Welsh identity as well, you know, sort of like a separation between the two, which you kind of sort of, like, hit on sometimes, don't you, when you think about it. And, like, sort of the difference between, like, they're always thinking, oh, but it's the British military, blah, 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 and we've got to go into this place, and they're like, but, like, our Welsh identity or whatever, we were here first, so you, like, you've come in here as well, so why do we have to defend various things, blah, blah. Like, it's hard to explain when I'm, like, drunk. That's shit. But I feel like that would be really your thing.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, you go.
Yeah. Okay, so my third recommendation is One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovitch by Aleksandr Solzhenitsyn. I've actually got this in Welsh translation as well. I read it originally from the library in English translation.
Okay.
But it's brilliant. It's a short novel and it describes a single day in the life of a guy who lives in a gulag in, I suppose, like I'm not sure the period, 1930s maybe, something like that, maybe later, and under Stalin anyway.
Yeah.
And it describes the kind of conflict between the inmates and the guards, little touches like they wake them up by hitting this iron bar that's hung from the ceiling with a sledgehammer. That's like the kind of bell to wake people up. And all the inmates are constantly trying to thieve bits and pieces to build up things privately. Like they'll build up a little room of their own, like a little sort of cutch to keep warm. Like that, they'll steal things like planks and water and that kind of thing. And what stands out for me is he's constantly repeating this phrase that the guards will shout at them and they'll say, a man who's warm will never understand a man who's freezing. That they've just got a different mentality, you know. Yeah. A man who's freezing will just crawl into a pipe to go to sleep and that kind of thing. And so I think the author himself was put in the gulag, so he's got this first-hand experience of what it's like.
But he didn't die there.
No.
Is it short?
He died quite recently.
I think I saw some Waterstones, like in the novella section.
It's really short.
Pretty short.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, he just describes a single day in his life.
That's perfect, I think. I think I've seen that. That's really good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I got you Monster Man.
I bought that today.
What? But I brought it in from the kitchen for you. So it's a present? Yeah, come here. Okay, so the next one I have, I may have mentioned, but ages ago, because I think I read it in like 2018 or something. Okay. The Library Book by Susan Orlean. Okay. Do you remember me talking about this? I think I talked about it loads. So, it's about, there was this massive fire in the LA Central Library District in like 1986 or something. Yeah. The year before I was born. Basically, the guy that they found, who they think started it, but they weren't able to do like any sort of like actual, you know, like getting him fully. He's like this out of work actor who's like a compulsive liar. Basically, they have this like massive fire and like the author talks about the fire. Like how much of it was able to like take out loads, and she talks about like how loads of firefighters said it's the one in a lifetime fire where you look at it and it's completely clear. Like it looks like there's literally no fire. It's so clear because it's burning so hot, you know? And in that case, you just have to get out. There's literally nothing you can do. It was something to do with like the way the stacks were set up.
Yeah.
So like it's one stack that goes through all floors, and it like makes like a vent, like funnel thing, and it just, the fire just went like that. But she talks about the fire a lot, and she talks about the investigation behind the fire. But she also talks about like the history of the library, because it's LA. Obviously, like LA now is just like super normal or whatever. But at the beginning, it was like a bit of a frontier and like a Wild West type place, and like having a library there is a bit crazy, you know?
Yeah.
And like she talks about the guy who they think caused the fire, and how he's like a really ridiculous out of work actor, and like his family's really ridiculous, and they have like like testimonies from his family, you know, saying like, oh no, he's always been such a good boy and blah blah blah. So it was really interesting, and I think that you would really like that.
Okay.
Okay, but another one. So James recently read the book that inspired, what was it, the movie that you read?
Oh, First Blood by David Morrow.
So what's the movie though? Rambo.
First Blood.
Oh my god. Yeah. James was like, you know what? I love Rambo so much, I'm gonna read the book.
Well, no. It was the book originally, wasn't it? It was like a book for 10 years before the film.
But you didn't read the book because you were like, oh, I really want to read a book. You read the book because you just love Rambo so much. Like, you couldn't get enough Rambo.
But it's not like a novelization of the film. You know, the book was a bestseller first of all.
You were just like laying in bed one night and you were like, you know what? How can I get more Rambo? I need to read the book. Okay. Anyway. So I suggest for you Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Is it Crichton? No. Okay, so I've seen the movie and I've read the book, and I would say, as is the usual, the book was 8,000 times better. Like, more information, more description, better characters. Like, if you're into reading, like, the books that come from these, like, iconic movies, you should read Jurassic Park. It's so good.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you go.
Okay, my fourth recommendation is Lesson Zero by Bret, Easton, Elliot. Can we redo that?
No, we can't go back. Bret, Easton.
Lesson Zero by Bret, Easton, Ellis, who's famous for American Psycho. It was a big film in the early 2000s, I think, with Christopher Bale. Okay. It's really good. It was written, I think it was his first novel when he was quite young, like 20.
Is he the one that did like the murder one?
I don't know.
Okay, keep going.
I don't know, but he was quite young when he wrote it, and it's around like the lives of sort of rich kids in LA, and it captures that's kind of the zeitgeist, I guess, where they're all on about getting Temple of Doom on pirate video and Return of the Jedi, and you know this kind of thing. I sort of remember from when I was growing up. These blockbusters, you could buy them on pirate video, and you know they were really rare. But it's like there's not a huge amount of story behind it, but it's so indicative of that era. And I really enjoyed it. Again, it's quite short, you know, quite a quick read. So yeah, I'd recommend that.
I think Bret Easton Ellis is something that I wanted to get into for a bit. I haven't really known where to sort of get started. So I've got an idea. Yeah. Next one, All Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. Okay, do you know when you bought me that true crime one from the store? That was to do with that girl in like Hong Kong or something. Do you remember?
No.
Fuck. So she was murdered. No, she was a British girl living in Shanghai.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
So then I finished it, I told you about it, and you were like, oh, I'd really like that. Like, you'd think it was good. Okay.
Yeah, no, I totally forgot about that. But okay.
So, one that I thought was quite similar and was really good, All Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. So her husband is the one that published the book because she actually died of an overdose before she finished the book. But she was obsessively chasing this guy who did like loads of like murders and rapes and stuff in California. And it's just like a mindfuck, the book, because they thought that it was 3 different people. So there's like a period of his life where he's just robbing people. So they're like, this is the so-and-so robber. And then there's a part of his life where he just breaks into their houses and rapes them while their husbands watch. And so they're like, oh, he's a so-and-so rapist. Then there's a part of his life where he breaks in and kills them. They're so-and-so killer. And it took till the 90s when they suddenly got all this like, sort of like forensic abilities all of a sudden and like computer things that would sort of like amalgamate different places and different like data banks and stuff. They were like, holy shit, it's the same guy. And he did crazy things. Like, he would, like, hunt out people in whole neighborhoods. Like, he would just case a whole neighborhood and then just hit all of them all at once. And there was this woman who, like, called her husband or something, who was, like, part of the FBI or something. And she was like, so it's really weird. Like, my door was open and there was, like, some weird stuff. And he's like, holy fucking shit. Check outside your window right now. Is there a footprint there? And she was like, no, yes, there is a footprint outside my window. He's like, fucking get out of your house right now, you're next.
Grab the gun.
Yeah. But basically, he would just case whole neighborhoods at a time and just, like, hit every woman in the neighborhood and then move on to another neighborhood. But anyway, they fucking got the fucker. They just got him. And it took them this long, but it's like a mindfuck of a book. It's so good.
No way.
Okay, next one.
Okay, so...
Wait. How many do you have? I'll do one more. Wait, I've got more than you. I've got
another 4 to go.
I have way more than that. Okay, Lonesome Dove.
Oh, okay, yeah.
By Larry McMurty.
I remember the series. Is it like Robert Duvall and...
I've never seen the show. I've never seen this. Okay, I've only read the book. But I feel like recently you've been into, like, classic or, like, modern classic literature.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to tick off, like, 1001 books you've read before you die, sort of like that kind of book. I reckon Lonesome Dove's always on a list like that.
Okay.
And it was so good.
It's huge, isn't it, though? Like, really thick.
It's big, yes. But when has that ever been a problem for you? Okay. This book was so good. For me, because there's romance, and there's people looking sexy on horses, obviously. But for you, it's cowboy as shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, they do loads of cowboy stuff, like murdering, you know.
Doesn't it end in Wyoming as well or something?
Something like that. Like, they drive the cattle from Texas Montana, all the way up. Yeah. And it's like, it's really cowboy, and I reckon it would tick off one of these ones that you're always trying to, like, tick off, you know? These, like, ones that you should definitely read before you die. So, Lonesome Dove, I think that's somewhere in the house as well. I can't imagine that I'll get rid of it. So, somewhere in the house. You should definitely read it. Okay, you go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, okay. So, my 5th recommendation is Obabakoak by Bernardo Atxaga.
Okay.
So, the title is Basque. And it means things and places of Obaba, which is a village in the Basque country. And the whole book is crafted around stories of the people there and all the way they intertwine, that kind of thing. And it's quite postmodern in nature. And it even includes things like the story of a lizard, you know, all the different things that happen around his life. And it's really inventive. And... It was published in Basque originally, and then became a bestseller. And then
when was it published?
Probably maybe like
recently?
No, maybe like 1982, something like that.
Weird.
Was translated into Spanish, and then became bestseller, and translated into English and many other languages.
Okay.
But the author always writes his novels in Basque, but then he translates into Spanish for the revenue.
Yeah.
So he can be kind of a professional author.
Yeah.
But he's really inventive. The Lone Man is a great novel by him as well. But yeah, that's worth reading. And it's in the library in Cardiff as well.
It's in Cardiff Library? Yeah. In Basque? Or
No, translation.
Okay. My turn. Okay. So, you were reading recently, yeah? The one about, like, the American woman that sends letters to England, to the bookseller?
Yeah.
What was that one? It's like something so-and-so wrote.
Charing Cross
Yes.
Road. Yeah.
So, I really liked that one, and while I was reading it, it kept reminding me of this other one, which is The Diary of a Bookseller by Sean Bythell, or Bithell, or whatever. Okay. So, it's like real memoirs. It's his real diary that he's just, like, published. And he owns this book shop in Scotland, in like this weird remote part of Scotland. Yeah. And he's like really sarcastic and everything. So he like writes a diary every day, like as a bookshop owner. Like so-and-so came in looking like shit and blah, 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 asked a stupid question. And I was like, what do you expect me to fucking do about it? Like, I just feel like all of your goals in life would be, can I own a bookshop? And then once you have a bookshop, you just turn into this guy, like, why the fuck do I own a bookshop? These people are so stupid. Like, basically, is what you would end up as. And as I was reading, I was just thinking, this is James as a bookseller, completely. So I feel like you'd really love that one. Okay, next one as well.
Okay.
God Save Texas by Lawrence Wright.
Okay.
You have like a bit of an interest in like Texas and stuff.
I think I remember you reading this, where it said all sorts of facts and figures and interesting things about Texas, like how people think about it all about oil wells, but it's actually
yes. Oh shit! I did tell
all
you
sorts
about
of
this.
Economy.
Yes.
Outside of that, was it? Or...
I think like the most interesting thing.
Like you think I never listened to you, but
you don't.
You go,
like don't listen
proven,
booktube. He literally doesn't like. This is the one thing. Probably I said before this. I said nude girls, and then I said this, and then suddenly you're like, oh, I'm like interested in this. Okay, but God Save Texas. It was really interesting. Like I don't have any particular interest in Texas. Like I've only been there once or twice in my life. Like it was just really interesting in that. The guy, he's a journalist, so I think he's like, you know, he's just a normal journalist. He's not like, you know, crazy Texan or whatever. He's a normal journalist, and he's from Texas, and he loves Texas, and he's moved back to Texas recently. And he's like, I'm gonna write a book about Texas. And he just writes about, basically, all the crazy stuff about Texas. And like there's their government system, like the state system in Texas.
Yeah.
Their Congress, their state Congress, whatever, only meets up every 2 years or something. Like they're really hands off in government. Like if you need anything done, you have to do it like in a 6-month period within 2 years or whatever.
Okay.
And like they have the system most like a prime minister system in the whole of the US. So like most states in America have like a sort of mini presidential system where like the governor is the president and then like the Congress or whatever. But the state of Texas is actually way more like a prime minister system than like a president, and it still like works really well, and it still like fits within like American stuff.
Do they still get paid full time if they only meet up like once every 2 years?
Probably, it's Texas. Or like when there's like a rush on and there's like really good oil. Maybe. So that one is The Diary of a Bookseller and God Save Texas.
Okay,
you go.
So my 6th recommendation.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. We were talking so long about like book recommendations and just like drinking and everything that the video just went on forever and ever, and I tried to cut it down as best I could and it just wasn't working. So I've had to split the video into 2 pieces. So there's gonna be like, this is the first part, right? And then I'll post the second part maybe in a couple days or maybe next week or something like that. And then you'll get the second half of the book recommendations. I don't know what we were thinking talking so long. Like obviously, like even the half an hour that makes up these videos is way too long. Like I hope people will just still watch it anyway and just speed it up instead of just being like, who will watch a video for 25 minutes? But anyway, that's the end of this part 1. If you liked it, you know, if you like the books on it, or if you're interested about it or anything, like if you have any comments at all, please let me know. I'm really I'm sure James would love to sort of have comments about, you know, the books that he's recommended as well, or sort of like the ones that I've recommended for him. But anyway, thank you for watching, and part 2 coming soon. Thank you, bye.